Well, Andrew, you've come a long way in your scouting career. It seems like just yesterday went on your very first camping troop with Troop 47 to your very favorite place, Eagle Cave. You were not a very happy camper that weekend, but we did learn that it is best if Andrew gets enough sleep. But I think you learned a bit more about how far you could push your limits. I did not realize until later just how far you were pushing your comfort zone that weekend. Lack of sleep, uncomfortable sleeping arrangements, lots of older kids you were not too sure about, and no parents to fall back on. Well, I think even then you were a relatively independent person. You were also someone who liked what he liked and was not very happy when things did not go his way. Over time, I feel you took those experiences and subsequent trips with the troop and turned them into something you enjoyed. I feel that that kind of experience is at the core of scouting. I would like to share with you a quote from Mike Rowe. He is the host of the show Dirty Jobs. You've probably heard of him, and he's an Eagle Scout himself, and he's a guy who doesn't really pull a lot of punches. This is part of a letter he wrote to a scout that was having some issues in what direction he wanted to take in scouting. The most valuable lesson I learned in scouting was not merely the importance of trying things I didn't enjoy. It was the ability to learn how to enjoy those same things. That's the single biggest reason why I have the job I have today. If your strategy in scouts and in life is to avoid those activities and requirements that you don't enjoy, you'll have a difficult time transcending any definition of mediocrity. That is not a criticism, it's merely an observation. Andrew, you have shown your ability both in scouts and in life to take uncomfortable situations and make the best of them. Take any day at Camp Ammond. There is where you take many challenges and turn them into enjoyment. Today, 5 years later, I feel you are much better at dealing with change. I feel another core part of scouting program is hard work to a long-term goal. It's interesting to me that from the outside it often looks like our Eagle Scout candidates are just floating along and then suddenly getting it done. The reality is they spend a fair amount of time just slogging along toward their goal, earning a badge here, earning a badge there, building up service hours, slowly advancing piece by piece. It's more of a marathon than a sprint. Though, as many of you can attest, there's always a big kick at the end on a lot of these marathons, it seems. But along the way, there are choices made, plans set aside, extraordinary efforts put in. In other words, real sacrifices made. When done right, it is not something scouts are made to do, but something they have aspired to and then dug down deep and completed. In the end, you have done something that few scouts, much less the general population, has accomplished, earning your Eagle Scout Award. Which brings me to my last quote by Mike Rowe. When I was 15, there was nothing that anyone could have said to me that would have inspired me to do something I didn't want to do, especially a stranger with a TV show. So I'm not going to assume that you're any different or pretend that I have some influence or insight that you haven't already heard from a dozen other people who actually know and care about you. I'll just tell you straight up that doing something extraordinary can be very lonely, and most people simply aren't cut out for it. Being an Eagle Scout requires you to be different than most everyone around you, and being different is really, really hard. That's why the award is called an accomplishment. Personally, and for whatever it's worth, the best decisions I've made in my own life are those decisions that put me on the outside of being cool. Singing in the opera, working in home shopping, starring in the school play when the entire football team laughed at me, and especially earning my Eagle. These were all choices that required sacrifice, hard work, and delayed gratification. I have no idea if you possess those qualities or even envy them, but I can tell you for certain that not getting your Eagle will be one of the easiest things you've ever done. Anyway, I have no idea if you would prefer an easy life of predictability and mediocrity, or if you have the passion to follow the road less traveled. Only you get to decide that. Well, Andrew, you've obviously not chosen the road of mediocrity or predictability. You are now an Eagle Scout. Your journey has just begun. I hope the lessons you have learned in scouting will stick with you throughout the years. There is a saying, once an Eagle Scout, always an Eagle Scout. To me, that is not an indication that this is the peak of your accomplishments. It is an indication of what you are capable of. Please remember that as you embark on the next adventure in your life. And always live up to be the best of who you can be. Congratulations, Andrew. We're very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. Enjoy the rest of your evening.